Don't go away, folks. We'll be back right away.
Yes, I shouldn't have stopped the streaming. That was an accidental misclick. It should have just been the recording. Welcome to part 2, everybody. Just like part 1, only later.
Well, and it starts with painting instead of 10 minutes of
Rubbish.
yammering.
Me wandering around my hobby room collecting bits and pieces to show and tell.
Well, there's a complaint from the audience.
Which is?
The Twitch stream has kicked everyone into half a minute of ads.
Oh, well, that wasn't the intention. I really apologise for that misclick.
Don't say that. Ross is probably still listening. This is all called revenue.
I think we're still in single-digit revenue from this, to be honest. And I'm not even talking about the dollars column.
No. Yeah, Twitch ad revenue is pretty bad.
Yep. I don't even think we're making anything out of YouTube.
Well, no one does.
Some people do, but
well, there are channels out there with 3 million subscribers and 100,000 views on every single video they put up, within 24 hours, and they still only make dollars.
Yeah.
Like single-digit dollars. It's just crap. And, advertising buys have been down this year because inflation's gone up.
Everything's gone up. Everything.
Well, it's 10% inflation in the UK so far this year. It's about the same here.
Yep.
I could go on about the White House claiming inflation in July at 0%.
Oh, really?
Yes, but that's only 0% inflation from June.
Right.
That's got nothing to do with the 6 months prior.
Right. Yeah, it's like... It is absolutely 10% because, of my budget adjustments I've had to make in the last 3 months, I am materially 10%. I have 10% less free money than I had 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And that cycle isn't finished. Like, our rates just went up, so... So yeah, mental note to self, just stop recording. Don't stop Twitch. The only problem with that mental note thing is that
it's mental?
Well, no, I've run out of note-taking space.
Okay.
Like, I must have been storing that stuff in the same place I was storing what I did last stream, because I had literally no recollection of what I've been doing.
Well, again, it was 3 weeks ago and you suffered a traumatic event in between.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
What, going to the US?
Coming back from the US.
Oh, yeah. I'd blanked it out.
It was a long time ago, and you've been extremely busy.
Mm.
Give yourself a little bit of credit.
Mm. Righto.
I mean, my excuse is I've drunk a lot of alcohol. So.
Yes. That's one thing I didn't do.
Good for you.
In fact, I didn't do any. I bought a lot of stuff. That's really funny, because I brought home the 1879 range, because I'm going to go through it and paint it all and try and promote it and do the next edition rules and all that kind of stuff, following on from Demon World. Demon World's a priority at this point in time, but I definitely intend to get to the 1879 stuff, so there's reasons for having it, but I put it in my luggage. Now, roll up at the airport and they weigh my luggage and it's 55 pounds. And it's like, well, that's $100 unless you can get rid of 5 pounds out of it. So reach into the bag, grab the bag of 1879 miniatures, pull them out, put the bag back on the scale. It's exactly 50 pounds. So I've got 5 pounds worth of lead or pewter that I am now lugging around in my backpack until I finish the domestic flights across the US. Of course, as soon as I got to the motel that I was staying at in Portland, I transferred them back into my main luggage, because I went from 50 pounds to 70, I think, for the internationals.
Well, that's 10 pounds you could have picked up.
Absolutely.
Get a little bit of that Steiner Scout Regiment.
A little bit.
Bring it home with you.
Well, there was a paint discussion going on in one of the internal channels. Somebody was saying that they had a really good set of. They wanted the Turbo Dork set of metallics.
That was Andy. Yeah.
That was Andy. Somebody else. Oh, you're in that channel?
Yeah, that was
okay.
It wasn't an internal channel.
Oh, that's right.
Thing.
Okay.
That
It
was the
general
Aetherstream
General channel. Yeah, right.
Todd's Chrome Fighters and your Steiner Scout Regiment.
That's right. that require pressure washing and disinfecting. At least now you know why they require pressure washing and disinfecting.
Yes. The answer is yes to that last little question there.
I am. Absolutely. And the author of the rules, so blame me.
And you've done lots of other things too.
Well, yeah, I'm the miniature designer for Etherstream, so blame me for them as well. A man with many hats. The only problem is I reckon I've got enough heads for the hats.
Yeah, well, you are a Vic. You're not a Tasmanian.
Well, that only reduces the count slightly. Yeah, apologies I don't respond to those questions directly, but the screen's 90 degrees from where I'm sitting, so.
And we can see the top of your head in the shop.
Yeah.
So something I was thinking about talking to Ross about just before GenCon. Whatever that is, if you want to share, or don't, if it's whatever, commercial in confidence or NDA or NDA worthy.
These guys are the ones that don't have the miasma masks on.
So it's game aids for all of the Fasa games was the discussion there, but
Game aids?
yeah, game aids.
Oh, there you go.
Not capitalized, so I presume it's not an acronym for something nasty. Speaking. Oh, okay. Digital game aids to help players play their games. Yeah, okay. I was going to say, speaking of something nasty and digital game aids.
And acronymy, or not?
Well, slightly acronymy.
Right.
Dungeons and Dragons 5.5, aka 1D and D.
This is a thing?
It is now.
They've announced 5.5.
And released rules. Playtest rules.
Right.
But, now I haven't looked at them. And I don't intend to, because I think 5 is cancer and is a bad game.
Right.
I see it as a cynical marketing ploy to get the Stranger Things kids to only play D&D and not other games, because they're wising up to the fact that other games have got 5th editions through their Kickstarters.
Right.
So if it's just one D&D, that's the only game that there is, and the Stranger Things kids will not naturally migrate to better systems. Yeah, that's me being bitter and cynical.
And possibly not far from the truth.
I think I'm right on the money, actually.
We have a market share. How do we retain that market share? Oh, I know. Yep. Well, maybe they take it in the direction that 6th edition Shadowrun went in and people stop using the system entirely.
That'd be silly. I mean, that'd be really silly.
I wonder how long it takes Catalyst to recover from that.
All they got to do is start printing 5 ebooks again.
Yeah, I've no desire to go to 6th. Spend all that money on 5th. Haven't used it. Haven't heard anything good about 6th. It's not tempting.
Todd agrees that it's not bitter and cynical when it's an accurate observation.
Right, there you go.
And Tap Envy wants to get his group, or their group, or whatever, onto Fasa Games, which is, good, because they're good games. Like, play 1879. Underrated gem, I reckon.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong, I like Earthdawn too, quite a lot. But 1879 should be looked at by anyone, I
Everyone.
think. It's a very good game.
I was listening to Brad when he was describing people what 1879 was, and he was saying he was likening it to Shadowrun, but the change happened 100 years earlier.
That's how I describe it to people.
There you go. So.
And also, there's another planet to explore.
Oh, look at that.
Slowly waiting for the stream to catch up. Yeah, Tap Envy. Make sure you get hold of the errata document, because that is the one thing about the 1879 character creation that needs to be fixed. The example characters in the book are not great.
Broken?
Yeah, basically they're not for the rules as published.
Right. Whoops.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you have a long, convoluted development and release cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're working on that too.
Yeah, the errata makes it really much easier. And if you're familiar with Earthdawn character creation, it's not that much harder. Yeah, 30 pages of errata. Just to bang on 6E Shadowrun for a little bit. I love it when a system releases errata for its core rulebook before the core rulebook is released.
Here's what we meant to say.
Yeah, it just made things worse too, as far as Edge is concerned. And that was the whole Shadowrun 6 big thing, was they changed the way Edge worked. But they made it not work, and the errata tried to fix it but made it worse. I'm like, yeah, okay. I was excited for this. I, was involved a little bit in promoting it pre-release, and like, no, I now have no love for this, and it really turned me off Shadowrun entirely for about 2 years.
Yeah.
It's only recently I've come back to liking the world. Oh, digital rule service auto updates with errata, like Hero Lab? No. Hero Lab dropped it. Dropped Shadowrun very quickly once Pathfinder 2 came out. I'm like, don't even bother.
Isn't Pathfinder D&D 5th?
No, Pathfinder is a elaboration on 3.5 D&D.
Oh, that's right. 3.5, not 5th.
Not 3.5. I wouldn't call it 3.5. Yeah, Pathfinder 2 being its own system, but it's still basically 3.5.
Right.
It's the same sort of rules.
Making absolute dog's breakfast of this guy. Gonna have to say something or people will think the audio has failed.
I've run out of things to complain about for this minute.
I'm glad you qualified that. Because I don't think that's true.
No, it's a bald-faced lie.
I resemble that description. It's possibly not my face that's bald.
The suggestion is royalty-free background music. Actually, that'd be a good suggestion for Don.
For Don's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that, starting later in the day.
Yeah,
I can't get up at 4 a.m.
We had this discussion at the AGM about what do we do to boost numbers and social media presence and all that kind of stuff. So it was pointed out that his live stream was at an awkward time for most people.
Yeah, basically for everyone but himself.
Hmm.
Which is a challenge in its own right.
Absolutely.
I understand.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know what time I could move this to make it more convenient for others. Because there's the realities of living in a household too. I'm not the only person here.
And it's the weekend and you're busy. Your job gets you for 5 days. The missus needs you for a little bit too.
That's right. And we've got guests tomorrow morning. So.
Oh, fun.
A 7th birthday party.
Oh, fun. So you'll be out hiding in the shed?
Probably. Or in here hiding. Depends on how bad the noise levels get. So I can definitely recommend, if you ever miss a connecting flight in Honolulu, to go and have a wander around Pearl Harbor. Definitely recommend that.
They were good photos.
It's a really interesting place. Very emotional experience, though. It's particularly poignant because all of the voiceovers that you get, they've got a PA system, and they play things, announcements from time to time. Every announcement is repeated in Japanese.
Ooh.
Which suggests that the number of Japanese visitors to that particular place is significant.
Yeah, it would be. If they're doing that, it would have to be.
And I got to stand on the spot that the surrender was signed, and actually getting a chance to see the Missouri, even though it was an absolutely flying tour. I mean, to have any hope of seeing a vessel that large and complicated in 45 minutes was ambitious at best.
Ambitious at best. Not gonna happen.
Well, that's what I did. I'm flying tour. That's why there's so many photographs. Because it's like, oh, this is really interesting. Shit, I don't have time to stop. But like, I had a model of the Missouri when I was a kid. So It's possibly a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I'm not sure I'll ever be back in Honolulu. Well, never say never, I guess, if I fly Hawaii next year's GenCon, maybe.
Well, it's not like you can go to the other reason to. I'm thinking. The only other reason to go to Hawaii no longer exists, so,
What was
fair
that?
enough. Magnum PI's house.
Oh, well, it's not there anymore.
No, Obama bought it and knocked it down about 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Well, more than 5 years ago now, actually.
Mm.
The first thing he did when he got out of office was bought Magnum's PI's house and demolished it.
Right. So this was the house where the series was filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What a great house, too.
Clearly there was something wrong with it. Either aesthetically or constructionally. Structurally.
No, there was nothing wrong with it. He just wanted the land.
Right. Well, you can
Like
appreciate that.
that guy from Google who bought up one of the islands and booted everyone else off because he just wanted the land.
Is that Sergey Brin or
Yeah,
Larry?
I think so.
Right.
One of them. Yeah. Pearl Harbor and Magnum PI's house. PI's house are the only reasons to go to Hawaii.
Mm. And everybody's saying, but what about Waikiki Beach? Well, no, I'm afraid you can't go to Waikiki Beach for the number of tourists that are on it. Not my thing at all. I did go. So the guy that took me from the airport to the hotel, and so you don't stay at the Hilton Hotel in Waikiki Beach. You stay at the Hilton Village because there's 7, 8. I can't remember the count. Hilton hotels, and they're all accumulated into the same sort of block. So it's the Hilton Village. So you get assigned a room in a tower, basically. Kind of feels like War of the Roses.
Deep cut.
But I didn't pay for it, so. But I did wander into the local mall, which is 10-minute walk down the road, which is apparently one of the biggest malls in the world. And it's this huge, rambling, sprawling thing. And you can't find anything, and the signage is terrible. So it's just like malls everywhere else.
Deliberately designed that way.
Possibly. Oh, no, this thing's accreted. Like, I wouldn't aim the word design at it.
Well, it's a tactic, though. It's an architectural tactic. Design your shopping malls in a complex layout so that people wander in and get lost on the way out.
Right.
So that they
keep
see more
shopping.
things and keep shopping.
They start spending money in a frantic bid to escape.
Maya Centre and Queen Street Mall in Brisbane is like that.
Yeah.
It's a 5-6 story vertical tower and about as many underground for car parks. And there's one entrance and one exit, and
Right.
they're on different levels.
Right.
And half the time the escalators don't work, so you got to find the elevators. And the other half of the time the elevators don't work, so you got to use the escalators. And the escalators, they're all in different. They're not above each other. They don't share that same sort of airspace.
Right.
They're all over the shop, and I hate going in there.
Sounds like Chadston.
Yeah, probably.
think Chadstone's claim to fame is the biggest mall in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, I wouldn't call the Maya Centre big, but
it's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculously poorly laid out.
Hmm.
Like, there are stores that have escalators up to their own entrances,
Right.
and you can't get out of that store without going on that escalator.
Yeah, right.
And to get to that escalator, you have to take a different escalator to a different store. I'm like,
Yeah, not thought out.
Oh no, it's thought out.
Oh, you
It was
reckon?
It was deliberately designed that way.
Okay.
Because I knew one of the architects who helped work on it.
Right.
Way back in the day.
And
When I
they,
was studying architecture myself, and it was one of their stories.
right. Make an absolute meal of this guy's helmet.
Just to extend it into a sort of a joke. That same lecturer, most of his work had been in designing prisons. Which is, funny, but also true.
It's funny in a very uncomfortable way. It's like kind of British dark humour, isn't it?
Yeah. Try not to yawn into the open microphone, idiot.
Mm. No, don't talk about yawning. No. Right. These have taken a great deal longer than I expected them to.
That's because they're so very well detailed.
Yeah, I seem to recall that all the process happening quite a lot quicker last weekend.
Well, how long do you reckon it took you last weekend?
It's actually a difficult question to answer because I got lost in the zone. So
Yeah, well, that's your problem then. It actually took you all day.
probably on and off. I did do other stuff, but I did put a fair effort into just getting them done. So looks like Joe's going out now that she's filled the house with mushroom smell.
Is that in aid of a birthday party?
I don't know where she's going because she went and did all of the grocery shopping last night on her way home from work so that she didn't have to go shopping today, and now she's gone out shopping. So go figure. I guess she forgot something.
Hope it's not mushrooms.
She certainly hasn't forgotten mushrooms because I can smell them. Stench. I don't like the smell of cooking mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't like mushrooms at all. Which was always a disappointment to my mother.
Your mother was a fan?
My mother had a degree in mycology.
Oh.
the study of mushrooms.
Yes. Well, just because you study them doesn't mean you have to eat them.
Well, she loved them.
Right.
Loved foraging, loved the study of, loved eating, loved cooking with, and I never got them.
No, I don't understand, I'm afraid. It's a texture thing.
Yeah, for me it's taste and texture.
Yeah, well, I mean, what, you're eating rubbery dirt, basically.
And, other less pleasant things. The protective padding for a Steiner Scout regiment.
Post-rodent treatment. Well, it looks like I'm going to get nowhere near those Crimson Skies fighters.
They're just sitting there, slightly out of shot,
Yeah.
teasing us.
Forlorn. So what are your plans for the rest of the weekend?
Probably seeing Andrea.
Right.
I mean, that's what's on the cards for today.
Today.
Yeah. I hope to be doing nothing too much tomorrow.
Nothing much.
Yeah, nothing much. Like, nothing much.
Staying in your pajamas.
I don't wear pajamas.
Oh, well.
But, it's the same thought.
Staying in not pajamas. Oh, that was awful.
It's a fine line to paint.
It is. It is. It is. And the metallic is not behaving itself. And yes.
Yeah, that bright gold is probably the worst of those army painter metallics.
Yeah.
It's still good and it's better than what I had, but
it's a bit jelly.
Have a good one, Todd. Enjoy your shopping.
Thanks for stopping by. It's nice to have some chatter going on in the Twitch channel. Even if I can't see it without gymnastics.
Whatever happened to Google Glass?
What did happen to Google Glass?
Well, aside from it being pulled for privacy concerns.
Oh.
Yes, killed by Google.
They killed it off, did they?
Well, as I recall, it's still a product, but it's only for corporate teams within certain industries. It's not a public product. Good God, I could do a cup of coffee.
Yeah. I'm still on my first can. So I've got plate mail highlight on the rifles and the bayonets,
Mm.
and then source.
And then everything else associated with finishing them off.
Yeah, then you've got to come back and do straps and pouches and eyes and basing, because these guys have to have eyes because they don't have miasma masks on. So, although the miasma masks I do eyes on anyway. Lenses, not eyes, but lenses. This guy's got a chin strap. Actually, need to do the chin strap.
Curse you, detailed miniatures.
Probably need to reassess the ones I've already done because they probably have chin straps as well.
Well, that one looks like a leader.
He is. You can always tell the leaders, they're always pointing.
I think there's a reason for that.
This guy has an epic jaw. And a mustache too, by the look of it. Bristling upper lip, which is very appropriate.
6'4", muscles the size of Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm.
Big strapping lad with a big strapping mustache.
Mm-hmm. Be Sergeant Major, shut up, sir. Reckon we'll never see reruns of that.
Obviously not, because it's a reference I don't get.
Oh, it ain't our fault, Mum.
Oh, heard of it, never seen it.
I reckon you would appreciate it a lot.
I reckon I would too.
The guy that played the Sergeant Major had been in the military and had been at the other end of the discipline meted out by the kind of character that he was playing. So he had deep insight into the psyche of the individual that he was playing, and he absolutely nailed it. So, no, there's no chin straps on these guys. All right. Plate mail. That'll be this one. We're doing
Okay,
design.
it's 9:37, and it's been released on DVD in its entirety, so I might see if I can find it.
No, those childhood memories, growing up watching that.
Yeah, well, it kind of went off the air before I was born, so.
Probably never to reappear again.
No.
It's absolutely not PC in the modern world, that's for sure.
No, it's not. I mean, that's basically the first thing they put at the top of the Wikipedia page.
Which is?
Oh, it's not PC.
No, it's not.
Different time.
Different time, different place, different sensibilities. But
these are the things you have to stress to some people.
Epically funny in places. Both because of and despite its How many seasons did they make? It was only 4, wasn't it?
8.
Oh, goodness me. 8.
56 episodes.
56 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I did spend part of my air journeys watching episodes of The Sweeney. Did you ever see that as a kid?
I did not.
Go.
Though I am aware of it.
Although John Thorpe now is better remembered as Morse, Inspector Morse, than he was as Jack Regan. What are you researching?
I was just getting a copy of It Ain't Half Hot, Mum.
Oh.
Yeah, now we play the waiting game. Waiting game sucks. Let's play Demon World instead.
Yeah, right. So I think I've got just enough time to source these, and we'll be done.
Well, you got 20 minutes.
Yep.
Have a pleasant evening, Tap Envy. Enjoy your whatever you're relaxing with.
Thanks for coming by. And I'm envious that Texas has a lot better weather than we do at the moment.
6:30 and 27 degrees. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Absolutely. I'd be motorcycling the hell out of that.
And no pesky red light cameras.
Absolutely. Sounds like paradise. So I got a couple of brushes when I was in the US to do all of that rebasing. This is one of them. It's now my new secret sauce applicator. Because the other one that I was using died a death.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, it was 5 years old and it had been treated abysmally as far as brushes go.
Yeah, I told you I'd bought some Series 7 brushes.
Oh, yeah.
Not game to have taken. I haven't. Not game to. They're still sitting there in their tubes. They haven't been touched.
There's no point in buying Series 7 if you're not going to use them.
Yeah, I know. I've got a lot of other brushes still in their packets. Like, got some Vallejo tack-on brushes that are. Oh yeah, I'll buy spares just for when these ones inevitably die, which they have.
Yeah.
I'm still using them.
Yeah, right.
Then I got some. Some German Red Sable ones through RPE for cheap, and I've been running those into the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I've used the size 1 a lot, and it is not capable of making a point anymore.
No.
But I still use it.
It's rather like the two of us this morning.
Yeah. Well, certainly me.
I don't know. I've been languagely challenged too.
Language. Yeah.
Not languidly, languagely.
Yeah, yeah.
Although, possibly the other one as well. Yeah, this one, I absolutely beat the hell out of this one while I was in Oregon. Because it did the filler pushing, it did the texture painting, it did the gluing,
Oh God. Yeah, that's some abuse.
beat the hell out of it. So no, it doesn't make a point, but it hasn't made a point for a long time. I think by day 2 it wasn't making a point anymore.
Kind of surprised you still got flexibility in the bristles.
Oh yeah, you just crackle them apart and dunk them in water. It's all good. Oh, I've now filled up the channel with crap. better.
Yeah, for all my texture pushing and spack filler pushing and glue pushing, I use one of those Citadel texture tools.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which is, actually a brilliantly simple piece of kit that, won't break on you and won't gum up because it can't gum up. It's just a paintbrush-sized piece of plastic with a wide end at one end and a narrow end at the other for getting in between the legs.
So I had this, and this was something I inherited from my dad, and I have no idea what he had it for, but I think it's a dentist tool, right? It's got
that looks
point
like
on
a
one end.
dentist tool.
It's a dentist tool, so he would have got it as second. Now, I didn't take any tools with me, so one of the things we got from the hobby store was this thing, which is a basing tool from Army Painter. And they've obviously seen the same idea because it's brilliant. Like it's even better than the dentist tool I had because it's got a slightly bigger surface and it's curved. So basing with that was an absolute dream.
Winner.
Yeah. There is some good product out there.
This is true. You got to look beyond your big players.
That's it. Got to look beyond the big players.
Not just in hobby products, but in hobby generally.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, having said that, I have given the Evil Empire some more money.
Well, they do some things very well.
They do good miniatures. The prices of them are horrendous, but the miniatures themselves aren't to blame for that. I apologise for the noise the dog is making.
Well, dogs getting dogs.
She's just being a little bit psychotic this morning. Not sure why.
She wants to smother you with love and affection.
Yes.
Literally smother.
She's a funny little thing. So highly strung. I wouldn't know how that goes. Oh. Better. All right. There's 12 of Her Majesty's finest sourced. I'll bang them in the dehydrator. I was going to make a point about these Crimson Skies miniatures.
Oh, tell us what you can do in 10 minutes.
So there's a squadron in the basic game which is a blue and yellow livery. I forget what the name of them is, but the intention was to do that. So I think a lot of these sort of trailing edges end up being yellow, and I think there's some yellow detail down the side. So those areas have to go white again to accept the yellow paint. But these I base coated white using the usual Vallejo surface primer. But then I broke out one of the air paints that I got from Army Painter, and these were the ones I had, the horrendous problems with and ended up getting replaced. That experience of airbrushing these planes was just amazing. It was Like, there was literally no fuss, no problem. It was magnificent. Like, such a good product. And to, you know, it's so unfair to have had that negative experience with them, because I'm still a little bit gun shy of using them, because, you know, there's all of that associated emotion wrapped up in them. But boy, oh boy, that experience last night of putting the blue on them was so good. But these have also been inked. Inked with this. The Vallejo Game ink. So.
Oh yeah.
But it's actually given them, like, considering they've only had 3 steps applied to them, they've got a really nice depth and character to them already. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they carry that game ink range at my post office.
Right. Wow.
I looked at them and I thought,
Yeah, no, they're good. They're good. Clee swears by them. He does a lot of stuff with them. I've been using the Army Painter, because the Army Painter's got a blue as well. I just decided I'd try the Vallejo one, but there's some good product out there, for sure.
mm-hmm.
And these fighters are just gorgeous. I mean, what's not to love about that?
It is a pretty cool design.
It is brilliant. Like, it would never fly in reality, but yeah, details. Details. I like these too. Actually, there aren't very many of them I don't like. So here we are. The end of part 2. First live stream post GenCon 2022.
How do you feel?
I'm not sure.
Good to be back in the saddle.
It was damn nice to be painting again after 2 weeks. Like, sitting down last weekend to do that last unit of 1879 was brilliant. Like, not having had that comfort activity, I guess you would call it, for so long was, yeah.
Fair enough.
I actually really do love painting, and that's not something I would have said 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I would have regarded painting as a chore. But I really do love it. So yeah. Onwards and upwards. Now we've got the intermediate Demon World rules and the advanced Demon World rules to do. We've got fighters to do for Stream. We've got rules and designs to do for Leviathan.
Babylonian Union next.
That's it. Babylonian Union. We've got to do stuff for Leviathan. So many things to do.
The space station, the Comrade.
Oh, that. Let's not go back to that discussion. Not my finest moment.
Well, that wasn't entirely your fault, was it?
No, it wasn't entirely my fault, but I engaged and I shouldn't have. Well, I hope you have a damn fine weekend, Matty.
I'll certainly try. I think I might actually head back to bed and have a nap.
Good plan. Well, I mean, rude awakening for the first time in 3 weeks.
Worth it, though. Worth it.
Yeah.
You have a as an enjoyable as possible weekend yourself.
Ah,
Birthdays notwithstanding.
birthdays? Oh, 7-year-old birthdays.
Yeah.
I'll just sort of work on my hiding skills, I guess. All right, folks. See you next week.